It was like 7 a.m. I woke up to get a drink of water. I went to bed at like 5 a.m. because I was working all night. And I got an email that said Cole Bennett for TED Talk. And I was like, I can't be reading this right. And I look at it again, and I was reading it right. I ran into my living room. My friend Bernie was sleeping on my couch, and I woke him up. And I was like, yo, I just got asked to do a TED Talk. And he jumped right up. We jumped around about it in excitement. And then I called my mom. I said, Mom, I got asked to do a TED Talk. And she said, no way. And I said, yes way. And it was just a special moment. I'm very thankful to be here. It feels very surreal. So thank you guys all for coming out. Not to mention Bernie and my mother are both in the crowd today. So it's a moment. I've been thankful enough to work with people, amazing people. Have mentors such as Rick Rubin, Jimmy Iovine, Gary Vaynerchuk. Work on a creative level with people like Kanye West, J. Cole, Mac Miller. Rest in peace. Can we take a moment of silence? One thing that I noticed about all these people was a common theme. It was their mindset. They're problem solvers. They're optimistic thinkers. It was very inspiring to me, and it's taught me so much, and it's made me realize that how you operate and how you fuel yourself and where your mind is helps fuel your career, and it helps you change the world. People like to identify themselves as a glass half full or a glass half empty type of person. This is a simplistic way of stating whether you are an optimistic thinker or a pessimistic thinker. We all have bad days, and we all have good days. But what fuels a bad day and what fuels a good day? We can't control our circumstances always, but we can control how we handle our circumstances. Optimism is a positive way of thinking. It's a subconscious way of prioritizing your happiness. About 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago, I was in study hall at Plano High School, about an hour and a half outside of Chicago, a rural city surrounded by cornfields. And I'd been making music videos for friends and local talent, and I knew I wanted to do more for the Chicago hip-hop scene. It was what I loved. It was all I was into. I'd go to Chicago every chance I got, every weekend, to attend any show I could. And I knew I wanted to be more involved. So I decided I wanted to make a blog. So I went home, and I started jotting ideas. I went to school, and I was jotting ideas. And my mom was the only person who I knew who owned a website. She owned a bar called Hard Days, and she had a website. She didn't really use it, but she had a website. And so she was the right person to ask, who do I contact to make a website? So she contacted the dude who made the website. And I got his info, and he was on his way over one night. And I remember I was sitting on the floor of my kitchen floor, and my mom was standing up by the refrigerator. These are important details. And we were just brainstorming ideas, and she said lyrical lemonade. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, wait, that's actually perfect. Like, that's it. And that's the night that Lyrical Lemonade was created. The next day I went back to school, and I was now able to put ideas to this paper that I had been jotting around ideas with. And I was, now able to put lemons all over it and really bring these ideas to life. And I was so excited. This piece of paper right here. There we are. I have it with me today. This was the paper that I had drew in study hall. It was an outline of the website and what I wanted it to look like. And it was my first time seeing it come to life. The next day, or that same day, I went to my next class, and I showed a classmate the paper, and I told my ideas. And he looked at me, and he just didn't really understand it. And He told me it was stupid. And I could have took this two ways. This was me super excited in an optimistic mood, feeling good and excited about this idea I had, coming across someone who's thinking negatively and was in a pessimistic mind state. And I let it encourage me, I let it motivate me. And I went home again that night, and I called the local label printing company, and I ordered a few hundred stickers. Um, they look like this, um, for $20. And I went back to school the next day, and I handed them out to all my friends, people who I kind of knew, people who I didn't know at all. And by the end of the week, they were all over everyone's lockers and agendas. And whether they knew about what it was or not, the seed had been planted, and it felt amazing. And fast forward a few months, things are going well. The website's up and running. I'm coming home from school every day, writing about 5 to 10 articles on Chicago hip hop, local talent that wasn't being highlighted yet before. And I was having so much fun, and I knew that I wanted to take the next step. So I decided I'm going to throw a show. Keep in mind, I'm still living in Plano. I've never thrown a show before. I don't have any money, and I have little to no resources. So I figured I'd throw a free show, and maybe the artist would come out and perform for free. So I did just that, and I found a venue. It wasn't a venue, it was more of a room. It was a rehearsal room that held 90 people on the 5th floor of the music garage. And I booked it for 5 hours for $100, and I threw the event. And throughout the night, we had about 300 people come throughout the night, and it was incredible. It was the best thing that I could have ever imagined, and it made me realize that this was something special. This is something I can do. This is a lot bigger than I had anticipated. All my goals that I set were always realistic. It was just my way of never letting myself down and always being able to accomplish more. This was an accomplishment that I had never foreseen when I was sitting in that study hall room. And I was wondering, what's going to happen when I move to Chicago one day? About half a year later, I'm now a freshman at DePaul University, Chicago, Illinois, and I'm now living in the city that I had always once dreamt of. And it felt amazing, and I felt now I can really do this. I can be where I've always wanted to be. I don't need to drive an hour and a half anymore. I'm here. I would have artists come through my dorm room every day. We'd do interviews. I'd shoot music videos in my dorm room all the time. It was utilizing everything I could. Growing up, I was always like a B average student. Not too bad, not too good. But when I was at college, I knew I wanted to excel. I knew I wanted to just prove myself wrong. So my only priorities were school and Lyrical Lemonade. I would sit in the front row every day, and I finished my first semester with a 3.9. I made the dean's list, and that was better than I'd ever done before, and it felt really, really good. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. So my freshman year in college, I didn't really have a social life. I didn't really have any friends because I was just working. I had 2 priorities. It was school and it was Lyrical Lemonade. And the few friends that I did have were always so confused that I was glued to a computer 24/7. And I just told them, I was like, I'm on a mission, guys. Like, you'll see one day. It might not make sense now, but it will one day, I promise. And I just kept working. That's all I knew. I just kept working. Fast forward to my sophomore year of college now. I had moved to an off-campus apartment with 3 of my friends, but we had about 8 people staying there a night, sleeping on the floor, on the couches. We were just doing what we could to make it work. We were all friends. We were all working and just surviving, really. And around this time, I had started to get more traction. I was doing more music videos. I was getting paid more money than I had been before for them, around $200 to $500 a video. And I had saved up around $3,000 in a span within 6 months. And I was ready to do a show, a bigger show than I'd ever done before. Keep in mind, I've done about 4 shows in between the first show I mentioned and the show I'm talking about now. I wanted this show to be different, though. I wanted to bring an artist to a city that hadn't been to Chicago before. I just wanted to take it there. I was a fan of an artist, a local artist from Philadelphia named Lil Uzi Vert. And I didn't know Lil Uzi Vert. I didn't know his manager. All the shows I'd done before, I would just contact the artist or the manager. I couldn't do that now. So I was like, how do I book Lil Uzi Vert? So I Googled how to book Lil Uzi Vert. And an agency website popped up, BP Agency, and I called them, and I got directly in contact with his agent and then his manager, and they said that he was $8,000 to book with a 20% deposit, so $2,000. I signed the contract, and I wired over the money that night, and I'd booked Lil Uzi Vert. The show would take place in 2 months. Within this 2 months, his trajectory skyrocketed, and he was a huge artist by the time of the show. The show sold out, and it was the most incredible feeling to see the turnout. This was the biggest venue we had ever booked. It was easily the best outcome, and it was a turning point. Around this time, I was working with artists on videos like Famous Dex and Warhols, and kind of reinventing the DIY music video scene of low budgets. Like I said, we didn't really have budgets, a few $100s here and there, so we'd shoot in basements and on the street, anywhere, and through edits and animation is where we would have fun with it. And it kind of introduced a new style to the music video game at the time, the local internet music video scene. This is around a time where things are different in the music video world at this point. High-budget music videos are becoming less of a thing, and the internet and YouTube is just thriving with all these young artists from all over the world. And we were just attacking it, and it was we were changing it, and before I knew it, we were at the forefront of this new emerging hip-hop subgenre that people like to call SoundCloud rap. I was building relationships with people like Xavier Wolf and Smoke Perp, Ski Master Slump God, Lil Pump, and we were just friends, and we were shooting videos, not really thinking anything of it. And before I knew it, I was getting interviewed by publications like Rolling Stone and Billboard magazine to speak on everything going on. This is a moment where there was a blurred line between the mainstream and the underground scene. The mainstream had the radio records and the big festival plays, but the underground had higher streaming numbers and bigger fan bases. It was a confusing time. It was a time where half the internet and half the world was aware of it, and the other half was completely oblivious to it. It was a really cool thing to be a part of. As this is all happening, things are getting more serious. The company's growing. I'm learning more. And I start getting phone calls from bigger artists. And I remember one day I got an Instagram DM from Quavo, of the Migos. And he called me, and he asked if I could come to Atlanta the next day. So I got off the phone, I booked a ticket to Atlanta the next day. And I remember going there and being so nervous because I had never worked with such a major artist, and this is, keep in mind, the biggest rap group in the country, if not in the whole world. And all I had was myself and my little Sony a7S II camera. I didn't have a big production team. I didn't have any crazy equipment. I just had myself, and these are people who are used to all the glitz and glamour. So I get there, super nervous, and I remember Quavo showing my videos to Offset and Takeoff, and he's like, yo, this kid's, he's something special. And that let me know I was supposed to be there. And it gave me the confidence that I needed. And I pushed through the shoot, and it went incredible. And I went home, I started editing. I was so excited. It's all I could think about. Keep in mind, I was never connected to a manager of the Migos or the label. I was just talking to Quavo. So it was like, he's on tour, he's a huge artist, he's getting back to me like every 3 days or so with feedback on the video and what he wants me to adjust and change. So about a month and a half goes by of this, and I'm working about 12 hours a day on this video. And he kind of just tells me, we're already working on our next project. I think we're going to shelve this one. Hopefully we can work on something in the future. And it was just like that. And for me, this was all I was thinking about for 2 months. And I felt like I was at the tip top. I could really feel like a new life and entering a new chapter and being able to reach new goals that I'd always dreamt of. And I just fell to the ground. It was like I had it, I tasted it, and then I lost it. And my mindset and my optimistic thinking pushed me through it. I had to remember that I'm a glass half full type of thinker. I could easily be half empty right now, but I gotta be half full. So I'm working, I'm hungrier than I've ever been at this point. Things are going good. I'm not working with major artists anymore. I'm still working with emerging artists. I'm like back in my place, and I get a phone call. Things are going good. I get a phone call from Wiz Khalifa's manager, and he told me that Wiz wants me to do the video for his new single off his album featuring Gucci Mane. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But the only way I'm going to do it is if it goes on the Lyrical Lemonade YouTube channel, because that's where all my content lives, and I have to stay true to that. And he said, there's no way. Wiz is signed to a major label. That's impossible. We can't do that. But Wiz really wants you to do it. I'd love if you could do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I just really can't. And I hung up the phone. Later that night, I was in my bedroom thinking, and I was like, these are my two favorite artists growing up. Like, what am I? Did I just decline a video with Wiz and Gucci? And I was like, I need to ground myself real quick. So I call Will back, and I was like, yo, I'm in. I'm sorry. I don't know where my head was at. I was getting a little ahead of myself. Next week, I fly to Miami, and I do the video, and this is my first time having a crew and a big production, and this is all new to me. I'm learning what things mean on set. It was pretty hectic. But the day was going amazing. The shoot was going exactly as planned. Wiz was happy. Things were great. I get a tap from Wiz's manager, halfway through the day, and he told me that Gucci wouldn't be able to make it to the shoot. I was okay, like, we'll just shoot the scene tomorrow with Gucci. He's like, no, like, he can't make it. Today's the only day we have. You got to figure something out. I was like, what do you mean? He's not here. How are we going to do something if he's not here? And so I was sitting down and just thinking. I was stressed out. I didn't know what to do. And this guy comes up to me, one of our extras in the video, one of the actors in the video. And keep in mind, it's a trailer park themed video, so the dude has like short jean shorts on, and a cut-off flannel, and a big beard. And he just looked me in my eye. This is what he looks like, by the way. And he looked me in my eye, and he said, "You are our leader. You must lead us." And he like looked me right in my eye and said that. And I was like, and I don't know what it was, because he didn't know what was going on. He just saw that I was stressed out about something, trying to collect the thought. And so it just ignited a fire in me. And, I was half empty there for a second. He filled me back up, made me half full. And I grabbed one of our guys working on the lighting team, and I was like, yo, you need to learn Gucci's whole verse. You're Gucci for the video. And he learned the whole verse, and we threw him in there, and he was Gucci for the video. A week later, we get a call. Gucci did want to end up being in the video, so we had to do a pickup day. It didn't quite go as planned, but I was really excited to have it go that way, and it didn't quite go that way, but it was a good moment. So I'm still in this apartment at this time, and things are getting a lot serious, and school is inevitably becoming a second priority. And I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. I need to pick. It's Lyrical Lemonade or it's school. And I made a list of goals, and I said, I'm going to drop out, and if I don't accomplish these goals within a trimester's term, 10 weeks, I'll come back to school. Blew them away and never looked back. This is a time where I was kind of, I was stressed out. There's a lot going on, so I was like, I'm going to move back home with my mom for a little bit, reset, um, and just reassess myself. How do I say this? I think that there are truly two types of people. Um, like I said, we have our half full and we have our half empty. But I also think that there are people who like to be understood, and there are people who like to understand. And I've met two people in particular who I believe are a special blend of the both. People who are understood to a great volume, but still wish to understand more. It's super inspiring. Um, I got called to meet with Rick Rubin one day. Um, if you know him, you know him. He's a legend. And I go to his house and in Malibu, and he's the most simplistic man you could ever think of. Everything in his house is white walls, not super modern, but just clean, and you just felt free. It literally felt like heaven on earth. And I sat down, and he walked up to me in a white T-shirt, black short shorts, and barefoot. And he sat down and smiled. And he said, "Tell me about yourself." And keep in mind, I'm so excited to meet Rick Rubin. This is a childhood hero of mine. And I'm just excited to ask him all these questions and ask about all these stories. Uh, what was it like working with Johnny Cash? What was it like working with the Beastie Boys? You know what I mean? He's done everything. And he didn't want to talk about himself at all. He just wanted to ask about me and learn about me. And he didn't want anything in return. He just talked. He just let me talk for 3 hours. He just wanted to learn. And he was so amazed. And something about it, let me take this guy off the screen real quick. Um, something about it was just so inspiring to me. Because I was like, how can you have accomplished so much and you're in the same room as someone who's so young and inspiring in the same field as you, and he's asking and you don't want to tell a single thing? You know what I mean? You're proud of those moments. If I'm Rick Rubin, I'm gonna want to tell some stories. You know what I mean? And I do think that it's no coincidence that he is wearing a white T-shirt, black shorts, and barefoot every single day. He is himself. He's happy, and he lives life how he wishes to. He's very in tune with the world. He's happy, and I really appreciate that. Another man like Rick Rubin is J. Cole. I got a phone call from J. Cole. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in my office, and he called me. And he, we were talking about doing a video, and we got off topic of it real quick, and he just wanted to know about my story and ask about me. And we talked for about an hour and a half just about me, and I was just so confused. Um, why does he keep asking me questions? And he just wanted to know about me, and he just wanted to learn and understand. And it was inspiring to me. And I also think that it's no coincidence that when J. Cole and I did work, his artist writer, this is where the artists request what they want to eat and drink and technical, whatever it may be, on the video set. Most people request bottles of Bel Air and Ciroc and 5 pizzas and 60,000 chicken wings. And he just requested a PB&J. And it was the craziest thing. And something about that just showed me a lot about himself, and it made me think that he's grounded. He's accomplished so much, but he's grounded, and he has an optimistic way of thinking. I truly believe that both these men are a half-full type of thinker. I'm very thankful to have gone through all the experiences that I've gone through and learned all the things that I've learned, but I truly don't think that I would have gotten to this point if I didn't think with the mindset that I have. You have to be a problem solver, and you have to understand that sometimes there's no way to solve the problem, and that's part of problem solving. When I went to Atlanta and got excited and really got to taste that and then fell to the ground, I needed to get back up. I needed to tap into my mindset. When I was depressed and I was figuring out whether I wanted to stay in school or not, and I couldn't balance things, I needed to tap into my mindset. When I was at school and I was getting this off the ground, I need to tap into my mindset to take it there. It's all about your mindset and how you think. And I truly believe that anyone could do it. It's all right here. And it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Um, I think that you need to view things and appreciate things truly for what they're worth. Um, One moment that was really special for me, it's kind of unrelated, but I want to speak on it. Um, we threw our first festival last year, and we had 11,000 people in attendance, and it was sold out, the Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash. And I remember stepping on the stage and, looking at this sea of people, and then looking right over the sea of people and seeing this lemonade stand. We had a lemonade stand there. And my family was working it. My mom and my sister, my brother-in-law, they were working the lemonade stand. And like knowing that they were there and like this was all happening at once, it just like really made me realize what happened. Because I was looking at my mom over 11,000 people, and it made me think of when I was looking at my mom across from that kitchen. You know what I mean? And she said, Lyrical Lemonade. And it's just like, it was a moment, and it just made me realize that you can really, really, truly do anything you put your mind to. And I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that. Um, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't a glass half full type of thinker. And